Peace, God. I'm Jahshamel P.H.D. Bishan Love. I'm from Lord's Island, now. In the Asiatic world, 15068. In the Gregorian calendar, it was January 22nd, 1982. Originally, Al Malik walked me up until the 1 to 14. And then after the 1 to 14, I went under Knowledge Born. Knowledge Born took me from the 1 to 14 through 120. At that point in time, in that period of time, we had to know 120 lessons in 120 days. And we was put in a situation where you need to know a degree a day. And if you didn't, you couldn't come outside. You know what I'm saying? You just couldn't come outside. We just was that strict. Over the years, I've had countless students throughout Lord's Island, through, you know what I'm saying, Victory of Law, out in Maryland. I count for about 60, 70 brothers. Understanding of 120 is you see something different every day. So to say that you understand it fully, it's a process. So I'm still understanding 120, and I've had knowledge of self for understanding quality years. My brightest students, of course, you know what I'm saying, you know, Lakim, you know what I'm saying, may peace be upon him, and he was a sword, man. Always Dakim. He was real. He was one of the swiftest. Born Professor Kasim from Uniondale. These cats was like when I say universal scientists, they were universal scientists, man. They would break the lesson down. They would take it to places where you got to sit back and just let them have it, man. There's a lot of things that 120 has taught me, but the most important thing about 120 is it taught me that every day I get a chance to renew my history. Just like, you know what I'm saying, the knowledge degree inside the 1 to 40 talks about, we get a chance to renew our history every 25,000 years. Every 24 hours you get a chance to renew your history. So moving forward and always staying progressive and elevating to the next level, there's always a way that you can renew yourself. Always a way that you can become better. Always a way that you can strive for greatness. That's the thing that 120 has taught me the most of. The thing that I feel need to be corrected is our equality with each other. Individuals deal with more of a separation than they deal with actually bonding with one another. Unless it's a social equality, then we all can come together and party and whatever. But when it actually comes down to building and nation building, or just coming together as individuals, we take this standoffish approach. You from Lord's Island, you from the desert, you from Medina, you from Pilon. We don't really rock with the guards from here. We don't rock with the guards from here. They cool, but they ain't from here. You know, or that, as we used to say, you that neighborhood guard. You that, you know what I'm saying, you that local kid. You know what I mean, that local guard. You know what I mean? Just, we have to start looking at things on a universal scale. One thing that I do love about this nation is I've seen the growth in it from coming up in Lord's Island and being able to go all over the wilderness of North America, and I could see gods and earths everywhere. Like, this wasn't just something that now while the seed was planted there, but it grew, and it grew so beautifully. Ain't too time you got ciphers in Alabama, Mississippi, New Orleans, Texas, Arizona. You know what I mean? It's a beautiful thing to see these brothers out here getting the same knowledge that we have. Justice is a reward or penalty for one's ways and actions. Universal beatdown was a part of that justice. Once you take away the disciplinary action, you know what I'm saying, from a situation, now you have people running amok. There is no repercussions for individuals' actions. That's just the same way it is with our children running around in the wilderness of North America. When the parents were not allowed to discipline their child, now you have what you have now. You know what I mean? The devil's the one that's giving them their justice. When we can correct the error before it even get to that point, it's the same way it is with us. Individuals had their errors corrected before they went out. And whether or not, you know what I'm saying, you received the justice or you was part of the justice, whatever the case may be, that was out of love, not out of malice. Individuals talk about universal beatdowns like it was done out of malice. It wasn't done out of malice. There were some individuals who had devil in them, you know what I mean? And there's a lot of individuals in this nation that is actually devil, you know what I mean? And will cause trouble amongst the righteous just to perform a universal beatdown. But those individuals must be examined, and those are the individuals who actually need the universal beatdowns. Well, when I first got knowledge of self, I was part of the 5% Nation of Islam. That's what it was called, 5% Nation of Islam, 5%ers. Everything has to evolve though, God. You know what I mean? Evolution is something that we all have to deal with. When you elevate, and I'm not an advocate to say, you know what I'm saying, Nation of Gods and Earths or whatever the case may be, because I'm a known 5% and I'll always be one, regardless of the title. But sometimes to grow, and you have to step out of a shadow. And there was a shadow that was cast that we have to step out of. You know what I'm saying? We want, when individuals see us and we say that we study and we teach Islam, the first thing they say, are you Muslim? No, I'm God. So now we have to get into this, how's you God? And don't you study the same lessons as the NOI and different things? So we stepped out on our own. Just the same thing, same way that we step out of our parents' house. We stepped out. Allah separated himself from the temple. He stepped out, and we was called his sons and daughters. So it was actually, you know, the name was changing as we went on. We was his 5%. So over the period of time, it's just been more and more growth. As far as Nation of Gods and Earths, there's some things that needs to be reevaluated, and I think that with the name and individuals are starting to really deal with the science of why do we call our people Africans. You're separating, and it's an eternal battle that we're going through right now. Firstborn Prince said years ago that there will come a time when there'll be a civil war within our own nation. And we see that today, just with the distinction of the name alone. There was nothing wrong, as far as I was concerned, with being part of 5% Nation of Islam. There was nothing wrong with me being part of the FOA, which was the Fruit of Allah. Now it's the GOD security. I didn't see anything wrong with that. When times come, we have to grow and we have to elevate. We take everything to the next level. Long as you don't tamper with the foundation, or you tamper with the origins and the beginnings of everything that we deal with, then everything should be fine. Individuals didn't want this knowledge when we were out here giving it to them. They didn't want it because of the fear. Now the lessons tell you, you know what I'm saying? The devil planted this fear. You know what I'm saying? Now, with this knowledge is supposed to automatically take this fear out. But when you want to build and become a 5%er online, and you got these lessons online, and a lot of them have been mixed, diluted, and tampered with. A lot of them have been distorted. A lot of people got this copy and paste build. They have a persona that is being put on online. Like, they're this universal builder, they're this great builder, they're this, that, and the third. And when you see them, you be like, you sure that's you? You know what I'm saying? Is that you? And it's the reality of it. That's the biggest flaw of being on Facebook. I've seen a lot of people, you know what I'm saying? I meet a lot of people, and the first thing they be like, yo, Jahshamel, I'm such and such on Facebook. I'm like, wow, that's how we introduce ourselves now. You know what I mean? And the craziest thing about it, on Facebook, we have such a personal relationship all of a sudden. All of a sudden, we have this great personal relationship with individuals we have never seen before in our life. Now all of a sudden, you're my brother, or you're my sister, you're my heir. Like, that's not right. I don't know you. You don't know me. We've never sat down and broke bread or walked any miles together. You know what I'm saying? To actually know an individual. You don't know an individual characteristic by his post. You know what I mean? So, not for real. I'm not all that keen with all that Facebook building, all that opaque math that cats are doing, and if you ever do the knowledge to it, it's like a bill we always have. You know, majority of individuals who do these bills, all them little half of retards, little special ed cats. You know what I'm saying? Nothing against them. You know what I mean? Everybody have to be somewhere. But those are the individuals who, coming up, wasn't looked at as being smart, or wasn't looked at as being intelligent. So now you grab this knowledge, and the simplicity of this knowledge is destructive power, because it's simple. The simplicity of it, this is what makes individuals look like they are Rhodes Scholars. So now you're hiding behind your monitor, your phone, whatever the case may be. So to me, it's like a waste of time and energy. When individuals talk about we Facebook friends, you can't be my Facebook friend, because everybody on my Facebook I know in real time. There's not an individual on my page I don't know in real time. I don't accept cats I don't know. I don't accept cats I've never walked with. I don't accept cats I've never actually built with, because I know whether or not what you're saying is actually you. In Lord's Island, we used to have classes and stuff at the Rush every Tuesday night. Just like we building right now, Tuesday night, we at the Rush. Guards would come from all over, add on in GCC classes, civilization classes, or whatever they call them nowadays. And last month of the year, we would all meet up at the Long Island Railroad, and we would go through, everybody would build. The Long Island Railroad parking lot would be full right there in Freeport, and we would all build. If you were shaky on your lessons, you couldn't go to the Universal Parliament. You had to stay home and study. And if you wasn't staying home and studying, you was found out to be out in the streets, you got a justice. It was real like that. And even prior to that, we would have ciphers every day. Which we would have ciphers every day after school. There was never a day that we didn't have a cipher. We would be together and we would know who knows what before we even get into the cipher, because we're around each other so much. Even though with so many different individuals or new brothers coming around, we still added on every day. We sharpened each other every day. Everybody was examined. It wasn't, I don't care how many people was there. We met up at 10 o'clock in the morning. Parliament starts at 2 in Mecca. So at that point, either you was going to be strong enough in your lessons, swift enough in your lessons where you can go, because you had to represent Lord's Island. When you left Lord's Island and you went off into the boroughs, they looked at us saying like, yo, them cats from the suburbs. Them cats from the suburbs. They don't know nothing about the struggle. Which they didn't understand where we come from. We come from a suburban ghetto. We come from a suburban ghetto. Just because we had houses and yards, we had the same causes and effect that they dealt with. So basically, it was just being strong in my lessons. Always building every day, running into cats. And you already know how, man, you used to get it. We would look for each other, seek each other out, because either you knew or you was going to get it. It was just what it was. And it wasn't out of malice. It wasn't out of malice. We was coming up. We was examining each other to make sure you were strong. Because at that time, we didn't have no women. You got to remember, it was you and I versus the devil at that time. We didn't have families. We didn't start making children and things of that nature. So we had to watch each other's back. So how any other way I could watch my brother back is to make sure he was strong. The history itself that Allah had brought, the firstborns and everybody out to Lord's Island when he made with the deal with Barry Garther, so they can get a little retreat away from the city so they can see something different. And he brought them to Hempstead State Lake Park, right there. And the knowledge itself, it came in actually 67, 68. Parham Anderson, old dad, is one of the original firstborns of Lord's Island. And it was funny because he put up a video of education. He put a video of education when and that's when it came, actually it's like 67. 67 is when it came, but it didn't start to bloom and blossom until after 71, 72. And that's when it started in Roosevelt, in that period of time. Understanding comes in time. We can see something one way, and then we tomorrow you can see a whole different ball game. Understanding always comes in time. That's the growth of an individual. So you might not see it today, you might not see it tomorrow, but it's gonna come. You know what I mean? Understanding comes in time. Once they took away the universal beatdowns and the physical justices, everything started going down. Anything starting to go. There's no more, they don't fast anymore when they first get knowledge. There is no certain time where you have to know your lessons. Individuals will be on the student enrollment for 6-7 years. You know what I mean? And they the true and living God. You know what I mean? Individuals don't take time out to understand the responsibility and the obligation that you have when you actually say that you are a part of this nation. What makes you want to be a part of this nation? And what can you actually do for this nation? And at that period in time, you know, we all had this, what you would say, this thing that we would say, yo, it can elevate me to this, that, and the third, but we didn't know actually how it could elevate us. You know what I'm saying? Take us to where we want to be, you know, where we need to be, and because we were young, and it's just like everything else. It was so much of an attractive power to say he's righteous. It wasn't even that he's God, because, you know, we didn't even say he was God. Yo, he's righteous. When they took away that universal justice, man, and we're dealing with a period of time where we're saying we just want to grow, we wanted to elevate, we want to do this, that, and the third. I know that I bring this to the nation, or the nation could do this for me. We didn't actually know what the nation could do. All we knew, for real, and this is keeping everything on a square, is that them brothers, there was something about them brothers, they were fly. You know what I'm saying? They was fly. They got that respect. You know what I'm saying? If you was righteous, you got that respect. And at the time, you know what I'm saying, we called black women the wisdoms. And all the wisdoms loved the gods. You know what I mean? That was another attractive power. You know what I mean? That was another attractive power. To actually have knowledge over 36 years now is like, I see the growth, because the 12 Jews of Islam is what actually taught me what it is to be a man. I didn't realize at that period in time that those lessons would be very instrumental in my life. Everybody talks about 120. You know what I'm saying? Everybody talks about 120. Everybody talks about the supreme mathematics and the supreme alphabets. But everybody's afraid to say anything about the 12 Jews of Islam. Now, the 12 Jews of Islam is what actually teaches a black man what he needs to do in order to have a family. What it encompasses. You know what I'm saying? You got to have knowledge, wisdom, understanding. You know what I'm saying? You got to make sure that there's that freedom, there's that justice, there's equality. You know what I'm saying? Not only that, you got to be able to provide this food, clothing, and shelter in order to have love, peace, and happiness within your home, within your circumference. So that right there is the key component of what we talking about, what we teach. Everybody talk about that that proposal, what we teach, because that's what it is. It's not a degree. That's what we teach. We talk about uplifting and unifying the human family, the original family, bringing back, you know what I'm saying, a family structure, giving our children the blueprint of how to become young men and women, how to deal with the opposite sex in a social equality setting and build a foundation so they can grow together. That's what everything is for real, is set right in there. The individuals are afraid to say it because they're not secure in who they are. Well, when I got it, I was 9. I'm about to be turning 10 in September. At that period in time, I was in Theodore Roosevelt Elementary School, but there was nobody for me to build with. You know what I mean? And it wasn't like, you know, and it was funny because only people I knew that had that knowledge was, you know what I'm saying, God of love, you know what I'm saying, which was born true. But I didn't know until my 5th grade year, they put me in the 7th grade because I skipped the 6th. That's when I really had my first orientation with all the gods, because I got the knowledge, but I wasn't like them. That's what made me have to renew my history, because this is all during the same period of time. And when I got up there to the high school, everybody was like, yo, little man, he righteous. He righteous. And you know how it was, we was coming up, you know what I mean? Everybody wasn't a tough guy. You know what I mean? Everybody wasn't a tough guy. And I was in awe of being with the gods. That was the first time I was like actually with the gods like that all day, every day. And that was the magnetic to me. How we would come to school, but when we, you know what I'm saying, we would walk with whomever we was walking to school with. Once we got there, we was with the gods. When we was walking home, we walked home with the gods. Everything was a close knit, and that was the beauty. But with me being so young, and they moved me up in grade, I wasn't mature enough to handle what was actually going on, so they brought me back down into the elementary. But by that time, I had already had some experiences that the ones around me hadn't had. So I took that along with me. But when actually I got there in the 7th grade, I was able to embrace it, because the guards were still strong at the school at that time, and I was more serious than ever. You know what I'm saying, about the culture, and that was the beauty of it. So having it young and being in a situation like, I didn't have the opportunity to have a religious mindset. I didn't have the opportunity to be inside the church or be a part of certain religious organizations, because I was already in a free culture. I was already a 5% in a free culture, living in a certain fashion. So I never had other experiences. I know other individuals who do, and when they come, sometimes it's hard to build with individuals who've been in a religious organization for a long period of time, because you have to destroy the religion and free their mind from what they was told of their structure, because the religious part is what is actually the slavery part, because it don't allow you to be a free thinker. You thinking that your justice or whatever the case may be, you're held accountable for you. You're held responsible for you. You have to have that moral values about yourself, and this is what we have. You know what I mean? So I was young, and that's a blessing to me. You know what I mean? A lot of times brothers, they look at me and they be like, God, there's no way you had knowledge this long, this, that, and the third. I was 9 years old, about to turn 10. Build or destroy degree, it's more so of the positive energy that destroys negative vibes. You can always destroy a lie with the truth. You can always grow, you know what I'm saying, from any experience. You can always put a spin on it, and that's a positive. That's that build. So I love that degree. He or her. The reason why I like he or her is because we always separate the woman from the man. You know what I'm saying? We always say, you know what I'm saying, everything is a God-centered culture. Everything is this, everything is this. So where is your woman at in these lessons? Where is your woman at in this culture? She's wherever you are. If you can say who is the original man, she's right there. If you know anything about, you know what I'm saying, Surah inside the Holy Quran, it says Allah looked inside himself and found his second self, you know what I'm saying, which was his feminine self. So Allah looked within himself and found himself He found his second side, his second part that was the feminine. And people don't understand that men and women are only halves of each other. Knowledge is a half, wisdom is a half, and when they come together, they make a whole. And when they become whole, that's where that understanding is born. You become one body, one mind. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times that manifests the child, that manifests everything else. When you become one with your woman, that's when you actually become complete within yourself. And the 1 to 10, my favorite degree is the understanding. And the reason why it's the understanding degree, because you're dealing with us as a people in a period of time where we didn't acknowledge God. We didn't know who God was. You know what I'm saying? We didn't even know who the Indians was. You know what I mean? We were lost within ourselves. And to be separated from the roots of civilization, we didn't even know if they knew we were here. So we have to always think about that. You know what I mean? You have to always think about that. We have to always think about that 4,400,000,000. Do they know that there's 17 million over here?
Right.
That was brought. You know what I mean? Like, and if they did know, why they didn't come get us? Because we're actually lost in trying to reconnect ourselves back to them. 136, the wisdom degree is yes sir. You know why? Because that's the degree overlooked. Yes sir, it shows respect, it shows morals, it shows values, it shows the respect that individuals have for another man. How when we're dealing with this question and answer, when he asked him a question, he said yes sir. He didn't have to say sir. You know what I'm saying? It was the respect. He did the knowledge. The man that was questioning him or examining him, he earned his respect. So I think that degree is 2 words, but it's the most powerful in the 136 because it's a lesson in it. It's a lesson within the lesson, which is all of them. The knowledge culture is the wisdom degree. I love it. I love the wisdom degree, man. You know what I'm saying? Who's having a hard time civilizing the devil? Because we having a hard time civilizing these 85s. And the reason why, because not only did he go savage, we went savage. And we're wandering in the wilderness of North America because we're not educating those who are around us. The ones that are around us are educating us. You know what I'm saying? We're taking on their characteristics, their understandings of how life is supposed to be. And our duty as a civilized person is to teach who? What? The uncivilized how to become civilized. So if I'm supposed to teach him, you know what I'm saying, civilization, that means I need to be on point. I have to stay on point. And I have to find myself. I have to be secure in who I am and make sure that every individual that comes amongst me leaves with a seed planted in their mind about this knowledge. Understand and understood the real devil. You know what I mean? When you start talking about any man made weak or wicked, grafted, that's mental. That's mental. That's mental. That's your mind. You were made weak and wicked here. It has nothing to do with your actual skin complexion. What seed you are as an individual. Are you the black, brown, yellow, white? The devil is actually the devil mentally. Anything destructive or negative was born in the mind. So when you see things manifested negatively, then you're like, that's devil. That's devil. And it's funny because cats be like, yo, I can't stand Jahshamel. But they never tell Jahshamel. You understand what I'm saying? And can never actually show and prove whatever your situation is when we get on the square. Because I don't do anything out of malice. I do things out of righteousness. And doing things out of righteousness, that destroys the devil. when Jesus saw the devil, he said to the devil, I know who you are. You are of your father. Y'all cool. That's that history when Jesus was in Europe. That, you know, like I said, a lot of history that individuals don't take time to find out. Just because a man comes in the name of Allah, don't mean that he is Allah. And that's the reality. Yaqub came in the name of Allah. He dealt with Islam. The 59,999 that left Mecca and went to Pilon dealt with Islam. Yaqub was born in the holy city of Jeddah, 20 miles outside of Mecca. He was born with a determined idea to cause death. And that's when individuals fail to realize it wasn't a white dude who just popped out, he's automatically the devil. The manifestation of devil started, like everything else in this universe, it started within the black man. So that's my favorite, and I can spot him a mile away. You know, I love light, you know what I mean? And you know, learning, you know what I'm saying, of course, you know what I'm saying, Earth is the home, you know what I'm saying, the best planet of them all. But the sciences, individuals have to learn the distance between each planet. You have to learn the distance between each planet. Why each planet is set in certain rotations. Why is each planet set in that order? Because if the Earth was the chosen, was the best out of all 9, why was she understanding planet? You know what I'm saying? And that takes it back to mathematics. What is understanding? The best part of what knowledge is. But then you're looking at Venus. Venus is the jealous sister of the Earth. And a lot of times individuals think Venus is actually the Earth. You know what I'm saying? Because she disguises herself as being such until she pulls out her wicked nature. You know what I'm saying? The best part of the 12 jewels is peace. It's calming. You know what I'm saying? It's that calm feeling. You know what I mean? Us growing up on Lord's Island, we used to go to the water. That water was calm. That was peace. You know what I mean? As far as the nation is concerned, I think that I would try to build a little more harder to ensure that the individuals were qualified to uphold that weight when it was time for me to move on to different places. When I left Lord's Island, individuals wasn't ready. When we left, I'll say it that way, I don't think that Lord's Island was ready for us to leave. Because the conversation I had with Divine Prince in God's Park, Centennial Park, before he went to Mecca, about the classes, about the parliaments and everything else, the responsibilities fell on us, you know what I mean, as a whole. And when we left, placed it in brothers' hands, and they wasn't strong enough to hold it. See, and when you take brothers and you try to walk with them, everybody's not ready for this. Some brothers is just here because they ain't got nowhere else to go. They can't go into the church because the church ain't going to accept some of your iniquities. You know you ain't going into the mosque. You know what I'm saying? So, you know you can come outside in front for the gods. You know what I mean? And I hate to say it that way. That's the truth. That's the reason why they can be the keyboard kings and queens. You know, they can build on Facebook. They have this big long bill that they done copied and pasted out of somebody's lesson or whatever, and nobody even reads it, because I know once I get past the second or third sentence, it's just like a music producer. If the track ain't bumping within the first 2 boom boom, I'm gonna skip it. You know what I mean? I'm gonna skip it. I'm not even going through all that. You know, even if you standing there with building, within the first sentence or so, if it sounds like bullshit, it's bullshit. I don't care whatever else you put with it. You know what I mean? It's bullshit to me. And I'm going to dissect it. You know, my thing is, we as father sons, we have responsibilities and obligations. Not just to ourselves, not just to our families, but we actually have obligation and responsibility to our community, to those outside of our home. That's the reason why we are put in situations that we are in, because we're supposed to be helping them. We're supposed to be helping these babies. We're supposed to reach these children. Our children get it automatically, at least they should. But it's the children that's playing with our children that needs it. The ones our children are actually come in contact with, those are the ones who need it. So we need to be more proactive in our community. And it's not about seeing what you're doing online. It's not about making yourself look big or whatever the case may be. This is actually your duty. This is actually your duty as a civilized person, to go out here and reach these people. They might not never grasp mathematics or 120 or anything of that nature, but to help them out of their social ill that they're living in right now is our job and our duty, to help these people, to give all that we have, all within our power for that. I think if we were more proactive in that, then the nation wouldn't be growing as older as it is now. You know what I'm saying? It wouldn't take a man or woman to get in their 30s to get it. You still see the same young brothers and sisters getting it because the gods would be that positive effect in their community. To me, it's not about what you quote out your mouth. It's about what you do out there. Do them people out there know who you are? And when they say, yeah, I know who such and such is. Yo, he's a great brother. He's always trying to look out for us. He's always trying to make things happen. You know what I'm saying? He helped me with my bike. You know what I mean? Or they was gonna try to jump me. He stopped it. You know what I mean? These cats was picking on me, or whatever the case may be. Whatever they were going through at that period of time, you know what I'm saying? You can actually build a relationship with them if you stand up. And that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to stand up. That's the message that I always want to give. I always want to leave. When people talk about a legacy, the legacy that I want to leave one like my great aunt, Fannie Lou Hamer. She was an activist. She helped, you know what I'm saying? She was part of the movement to get votes out here. And she didn't do it to be recognized. The hell that she went through. She was persecuted. She was basically forced to be sterile. She couldn't have children. They sterilized her so she wouldn't have children. That's sacrifice, because she gave all she had and all within her power to save her people. And we say that we're the poor righteous teachers who don't believe in the teachings of the 10% and know who the true and living God is. They don't know. They don't know that the true and living God is not only sitting next to them, but is them. They don't know that the true and living God is you. Nobody is going to come here and save you but you. You are your cause and effect. Every decision that you make is the reason why you go through whatever you go through. There's a chain of events. You have to teach these brothers and sisters to become self-sufficient, to always think outside of what they call the box. Become a leader, because as long as you're a follower, the view never changes. You see the same thing. You see that same back of somebody's head. You see the same back of somebody's ass. You see the same back of their shirt, shoes, whatever. We have to become leaders. We were strong and able to teach the way we taught coming up because that's what we were. That's what we are. We were young. It was nothing to have 10 individuals around us. My first 9 students, I was teaching all at the same time. And it was crazy because how can you reach 9 different mentalities all at one time? We might be in the same hood, in the same area, but everybody's mentality and the way they think and mental plane of energy is different. Who was the supreme mind? Who was the most intelligent? who, and this had nothing to do with lessons. If we had a spelling test, I got a 98, I got a 99. You know what I mean? It was a competition of who had better grades. We used to run up on each other with our report card. Yo, what you get? What you? You know what I mean? Until it became cool to be stupid. When it became cool to be stupid, that's when things started really going down. But you have to be a leader to grasp different mentalities.